There comes a point in an electoral referendum campaign where we feel we have to go to 3 or 4 places on some mad trip.
Told that Labour's own polling suggests that its vote is draining away in the very places that it needs to hold on to.
Pollsters and pundits are talking about the so-called Labour Red Wall, the string of seats from the Midlands to the north that might fall to the Tories. We're starting our journey here in Wolverhampton.
This is where we first divined the Corbyn surge of 2017. So do you know who you're going to vote for?
Well, like last week, it's 100% Conservative. And now, through my daughter and through watching television, I'm not sure. I might change my mind, but I might not. He seems quite sincere.
For those depressed by the YouGov MRP poll, it needs only that poll to be 0.5% out and then a 1% swing from Tory to Labour in the next 2 weeks to reduce that 68 majority at zero. So the people who do opinion polls have their methodology, we have ours. No one's going to talk to us in the bus stop.
Making the country worse instead of better.
Who is?
The politics.
Well, are you going to vote?
No.
I should vote, but I haven't decided who.
And have you voted Labour in the past?
Yes.
What's changed?
We all know what comes next.
Corbyn.
Go on.
Corbyn.
You read a paper every day?
Yeah.
Which one?
Son.
You read the
What
Sun?
we want to know is whether we can get beyond these quick-fire, superficial responses.
We've got to work hard on that.
Of course we've got to work hard on that. I mean, it's a sort of, it can be a thoroughly dispiriting business. Because the voice in your own head constantly says, well, what are you doing? This is completely unscientific nonsense.
I did vote 2 years ago, but I won't be voting this time.
What's changed?
Confusion, really, over what's happening with Brexit and what's happening in the political world, and the lack of understanding and lack of trust within the government.
Well, and what about the opposition?
What's opposition?
Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party.
Is that what you call opposition?
Is it?
Is it?
I don't know, you tell me. What's your feelings about it?
I don't think Conservative have any opposition in this country no more.
Have you voted Labour in the past?
I have done. I've always voted Labour.
What do you do for a living?
We look after children who have got learning disabilities, autism, behavioural issues, etc. And we bring them back into the community, into small homes. And the funding for that has been stretched. The government isn't giving us enough funding to make an improvement back into and integrate them back into the community.
So you work in a caring occupation.
Yes.
You're well aware of the cuts.
Correct.
Totally aware of the cuts.
Correct.
And yet you're not voting Labour.
No.
God, they got work to do. Right, there's a younger person on the other side of the street. Are you going to vote in 2 weeks' time?
I don't know. I don't know. I think we're quite the young generation. We don't bother following the politics, do we? So.
Really? What's your sense of the future of the country? Where's Britain going?
Out of Europe.
Yeah.
So you feel strongly about that?
Yeah, I don't know why I feel strongly about it.
How do you feel about the future for you?
Definitely optimistic.
You don't feel optimistic?
Nah, because I'm 24. I only get £8.21 an hour. And it's a minimum wage, and I think it's ridiculous. Though. £8.21 an hour. It's nothing.
But your job title is what?
Duty manager.
You're a duty manager, and
Yeah.
you're getting the minimum wage.
Getting the minimum wage.
That's something gone wrong there, isn't it?
Tell me about it. It's ridiculous. But there's nothing I can do about it.
Join a trade union?
What's that?
What's a trade union?
Yeah.
Do you know what a trade union is?
Nah, don't.
And do you have a sense of what the Labour Party stands for?
Is Len McCluskey, who's General Secretary of Unite, the union.
Working class communities who voted Leave and are maybe considering voting for the Conservatives, or we're still the Brexit party. Only Labour has the policies to deal with those concerns. The left behind towns come home to Labour.
Okay, but
come
so,
home to
People left behind towns come home to Labour. It's just... Right, we've come to spend some time with the Labour candidate here, which we also did 2 years ago.
Okay, everyone. I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what to do?
Make this clear, you're not taking us to people you already know are pro-Labour,
God, no.
as some political parties do.
Well, we're not like that.
I thought we might be able to, but I don't think anybody's organised it.
I just can't make my mind up. Neither can my husband, neither can anyone. My friends, we talk about it frequently and we're all very indecisive.
The all-important ground game. Never mind the TV and the internet.
Labour Party.
Oh, he's got a camera, look, recording. Good afternoon, sir. My name's Shane. No, I'm joking.
We're making a film about the election in Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
Are you going to vote in 2 weeks' time? Right.
Well, I don't know what I'm voting for.
That's your MP.
Is this our MP?
That's your Member of Parliament.
Okay, so basically what I need better is for our youth to make a better change so they don't have to go through what we've been through, you know what I mean? See what I'm getting to? Because obviously there's no youth clubs anymore, they've shut all that down. They're all just going round stabbing each other, doing what's bad, you know, there's nothing out there for them. We need to set up some schemes to bring all the young people together again.
Can I ask you, what are your circumstances at the moment? Are you working?
I'm unemployed, I'm everything.
Do you have a sense of what the Labour Party is all about? Do you know what it stands for? You don't know what it stands for.
The thing is that because you feel so disengaged, because you don't think it's going to suit you, because you don't feel that's for me, and every politician you've met in your entire life has promised you the earth and gave you nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It's good that you've come out here though.
Yeah, but this is what we do. This is what Labour do.
I said to him the other day, I said, there's nothing for the kids, like I said, so we need to, even if we set up a little scheme in Wolverhampton Town, I thought of a thing, entertain our city, coming together, making people do music in the town.
We were at a shopping parade in Penn this morning, right? And when we were there 2 years ago, straight away we got a sense that people were warming to the Labour Party and warming to Jeremy Corbyn, and that things were shifting. And as much as coming out with you, everything I would like to think about the Labour Party is true. As soon as I meet the local Labour Party here, we didn't meet anyone who said they were voting Labour. And we spoke to a lot of people, different sizes, shapes, backgrounds, as if something had changed a bit.
Well, yeah, Brexit.
I was brought up in the Labour Party. We haven't come here to say, oh, the Labour Party's having trouble, ha, ha, ha. There's something tragic about it, I suppose. There's no other political party looks like that up close. Full of moral force about social justice and with members from every background and class and all that. And it's having a hard time. We're driving north and we're stopping off in Worksop, the former coal town in Nottinghamshire, and pretty much everywhere we're passing through here is a kind of Labour Conservative leave voting battleground seat. You can't see them because it's dark, but these are the places that are going to decide what happens in this general election.
How do I feel about it? I really don't know who to vote for.
What did you used to do for a living?
I worked at Clipson.
You were a coal miner?
Yeah. So I voted Labour, then everybody did at Clipson.
When did you stop voting Labour?
I can't remember. How was it? When I finished Pier 1 to just change policies. You just change your ways, though, Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Labour voting in these places has been softening and weakening for a long, long time because the culture of the place has completely changed. That gentleman said he stopped voting Labour when he stopped being a coal miner.
It's not Jeremy Corbyn's fault either.
It's not. The history of this goes back much further than when Jeremy Corbyn became the leader in 2015. I'm going to buy a Sex Pistols wallet. How much is that? Tenner. Can't do it. You do it for 6. Right, you're on. There is no future in England's dreaming. Making a film about the election. Right, 3. The election? The election!
Whoa! I think I voted for Jeremy Corbyn last time.
Right, and this time?
This time, I won't decide because they've all got... The policies are all a bit... It's a bit, like some of the things that we're all saying, it's choosing the right one.
He's got a lot of policies this time.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit too many.
They don't listen to what we want.
What do you want?
I.e. the Brexit and everything else.
We voted 4 years ago, and it's still not happened.
What's the point in having a democratic country if they're not going to listen to the word of the voters in the first place?
So you're not going to vote at all?
I don't think so.
Blimey. These are the precise metrics we use for votes, because that fella there had a beard. We thought he looked a bit hipstery and therefore he might be a Labour voter. But it turned out that they felt that the fact Brexit hadn't been delivered rendered everything worthless. Should we ask these? Excuse me, do you know who you're going to vote for?
Corbyn.
You're going to vote for Corbyn? Tell me why.
Because he just... Look at this.
No, this is interesting. Go on, tell me.
I like him, he's for the people in here.
Like Boris, he just wants to sell NHS, doesn't he? That's all he wants.
And what's Corbyn want, as you understand it?
He wants to raise minimum wage to £10. There's plenty of stuff that Corbyn's for.
Where do you get your information?
The TV?
Yeah, a lot of Facebook and stuff like social media and stuff like that.
And has Labour stuff been coming up on your Facebook?
Yeah, I can show you.
Penny for the guy. In all likelihood, the Brexit Party hasn't got a cat and hell's chance here. But something is happening. Grimsby has been held by the Labour Party for 74 years, I think. And it is said that the Tories are in with a very serious shout of winning it. Grimsby is also somewhere that's been on the receiving end of loads of sort of snobby media, cultural sneers, dodgy documentaries about life on benefits and all that stuff. But actually, it's some really interesting stuff going on here. There's nothing you don't do.
Is everyone decent?
We've come backstage to a fashion show. It's for a thrift shop here on the Nunsthorpe estate.
That's it, still on it. That's much better.
The shop is one small part of Centre 4, a pioneering community initiative that's bringing ideas to life in this part of Grimsby. New businesses, an urban farm, support for loneliness and a gym.
You filming everything?
Yeah.
I better behave yourself then.
None of it would happen without these volunteers and activists, most of whom are women.
Then we've got Gwen, Carol and Sue. This would cost you from next for £15. You can buy them from the shop for only £2.50.
We have asked people for help before, but the idea was that because we've done a lot of things in the centre, that we put our own community action group together, and so we'll just do it ourselves. So I brought a flower shop into the centre and a gift shop.
What was your thinking in doing that? I mean, obviously it's not purely a money-making exercise, clearly.
Definitely not. I believe it's got to be affordable for this community, and that's what I've set out to do. And I do small bunches that can take home and cheer themselves up for a weekend or anything like that.
We're looking into trying getting funding and stuff because we've got a skate park over the road.
Yeah. More things for families, for the, especially the youth, so having somewhere safe to go, somewhere where they can go and they don't have to be out on the shop fronts. People are doing things, and there's a lot of organisations and community things, but they just don't get recognised because sadly, all it gets focused on is the drug side of Grimsby and poverty, but not everybody is like that, and we want to help. This is like here, we want to help people get out of that, and we want Grimsby to move on.
So you're sort of community activists, right? You're very involved in changing things.
Trying.
How do you feel about the election? Only because that's a conversation about what kind of country we were meant to be and all that. Now you're leaving us.
I don't really get involved with it like that. So.
You're going to vote?
I don't know, because I don't really vote, so...
Really?
He loves politics.
You love politics?
I love politics,
Do you?
seriously.
How do you feel about the election?
I would like to see Jeremy Corbyn get in.
Go on, why?
They have bled the council dry. The government has seen the funding from just about everything, schools, councils, local environments.
I feel very disillusioned with the whole parliamentary process at the moment. I feel we need a brand new party of some kind, and I just don't feel they are in touch with anywhere from in the north side.
My instinct is to end the conversation with right and tell me how you're going to vote. And as far as you're concerned, that's almost irrelevant.
Yes, to be honest with you, one person says one thing, one another, and the people here cannot. That doesn't mean anything to them. They want to see actual, tangible transformations for them.
It's this spectacle of loads of people 200, 300 miles away saying, I'm going to pull this lever and this is going to happen to where you live. Perhaps that doesn't work, and what works most effectively is you being able to do it yourself.
Yes, and I think it's pride. I think it's about people's pride, and they should be involved more and make them feel as if they're worth something again.
Silent night, holy
quite moved. Tired, man, so I'm getting emotional. Everywhere we go, we find people try to turn it around and make it better and enable people collectively to do stuff at the absolute grassroots, and it's amazing. And it's amazing in a way that nothing the distant state can do could be. It's really moving up close to see. We did speak to someone in there who was sort of passionately pro-Jeremy Corbyn, and I totally understand why, you know. But for other people we spoke to, national politics is just like extraneous noise. Somehow it doesn't connect itself. It's not interested nearly enough in what happens here and places like it. There's too much of a gap.
We had time for a night out in Grimsby and a few less sober vox pops, which mostly fell Labour's way.
We all make it work in one way or another.
We try to.
Yeah.
But it's not working, is it?
Labour.
Yeah.
Always.
Then it was a long drive to our ultimate destination in search of some kind of final answer.
You never find it out, do you? But on these trips, we sort of have some notion. Talk to as many people as you can. Somehow there are puzzles to be solved. And I can't even articulate what the puzzle is that we've been trying to solve for 10 years. So now we're on the A1M, which I'm beginning to think goes on forever. Right, here we are in Darlington. Vox Pops.
What else? It is the only way.
Was that the old camera, Jelly?
Yeah, do you want to chat to us?
What you chatting about?
The election.
Politics.
The election.
Politics!
Politics.
Fuck off! It's all bullshit, it's all lies.
Thank you.
It's
My
full of
sister.
fucking immigrants. Stop
Oh,
it.
right.
Make fucking English proud again.
We're hit by a wall of noise that seems to capture the nastiness that's seeped into British politics.
Come on! Come on! Then we can go home.
Come on.
You're going to vote in 2 weeks' time, come on.
But there's also a sense that if you look and listen hard, there are quieter signs that we may not be all that divided after all.
Run away into a shop.
And that underneath, many of us still want the same kind of things.
Come on, then. Coming in, I'm just trying to get a shot of you going in.
Brexit. I'm not very smart.
I don't think the politicians themselves know, because the world and the country wouldn't like it is, so I don't think you're not smart, because they're not either. So.
Are you going to vote?
I am going to vote.
You know you're going to vote for?
I think I'm going to leave the Brexit Party.
You're going to vote for the Brexit Party?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Because he's not fighting for a chair in Parliament, like he's not wanting to be Prime Minister. We're supposed to leave all them lunatic people in London in charge of our decisions and what we want.
Once again, this is someone who wants the country to change, but she has no trust in the established parties.
You said you were going to vote Labour, is that right?
Oh God. Just think about NHS. I feel like it should be for free.
Well, it's not even that, it's about the NHS is like, my daughter wants to be a paramedic, but I'm going to have to pay for that. Because they've stopped all bursaries for the NHS. Like, students wanting to go on and be nurses and doctors, that they can't financially afford it. I've just finished university this year doing psychology and criminology, and I wanted to go back and do my masters, and the funding wouldn't even cover my rent and my fees for me to live, and I've got 4 children. So in order, they need to be putting money back into education to get the nurses and get the staff, the need for the NHS. They need to get that wow factor to encourage the young people, because society's just absolutely, like, young kids now are like, well, they don't know what to do, especially from families that are broken down families who are like underclass and haven't got a lot of money. It's not fair. I think that the NHS should offer that.
What kind of country you want to live in?
Yeah, what kind of country do you want to live in?
I would live in a happy country.
As soon as that woman in there, if we just put her picture on Twitter and said she lives in Darlington, she's voting for the Brexit Party, can you imagine the rage and sneering that would follow? And yet you start talking to her about the state of the country, and she has very ingrained experience of how the way things are going wrong. She's just done a degree as a mature student in psychology and criminology. She tried to turn children's services round. She's got a child diagnosed with ADHD. Keen sense that the NHS is brilliant, needs help and support and more money. It's so complicated. And yet we live in a world where you just vote for the Brexit Party and suddenly you just become the subject of a great noise again, don't you? I mean, less noise.